What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Ben Thomas Show. Thanks for coming back today. I finally got my Batman Forever Batman in hand. Poor Robin's been standing behind me by himself on the shelf for like 2 weeks. So today I'm going to get him out of the box. I want to see how posable this guy is, if at all, and I want to see if he's worth the slightly higher price tag. But stick around. If you guys like the video, hit the like button, smash the subscribe if you're new to the channel, and let's get into it. Okay, so I hope you guys don't mind that I started with that terrible audio quality recording of the theme song, but I had to get us into it, right? Had to get you into it. Finally, I've got this guy in the light box here. Now, I'm still getting used to my light box, so bear with me a little bit on that, but I am really excited to see this guy finally in hand. To be honest, it was the Batman that I really wanted. Even though the Robin makes for a great companion piece, Batman is my guy. Definitely. Now, Val Kilmer's Batman is not necessarily my favorite Batman. I would say it goes for me Christian Bale, Batman 89, they're somewhat tied, and then it would be Val Kilmer's Batman if I had to choose. In terms of nostalgia, I really like Pattinson's The Batman, and I really still did like parts of Ben Affleck's Batman. But getting this guy out of the box, it's beautiful in hand. As you can see from some of these images, when you take a scan kind of from the legs up and you get a chance to see this sonar suit in person, the way the light reflects off it is really nice. And I gotta say, the mouth plate on this guy, 100% to me, is Val Kilmer. I absolutely see it in there. Now, this is the sonar suit. This isn't even the main film suit from that movie. But what I will say is it's a nice option. Honestly, I'm happy that Hot Toys gave us this. Now, would I have also preferred a black suited option? Maybe as an alternative, but I like that this guy stands apart from some of my other Batman that I have in my collection. Now, you'll see here in a moment, posability is really rough with this guy, like real rough. His head does not turn. His boots are not really articulated at the ankle joint. It's extremely stiff. This is about as much range of motion as you'll get there. The knees bend, but only to about there comfortably. You cannot move his hip flexors. His arms do go up, but you see that there's pressure under the arm immediately. And this bunching in the arms and right on the elbow joint there happened immediately. Only one time posing it for about 10 seconds. I would be really conscious of dynamic posing with this guy at all, if you can kind of even pull it off. Honestly, I'd be not very surprised if you blew the suit out under the arms immediately. His ab crunch is that. That's as far as she goes. It's not very special in terms of posing throughout the torso. Again, the head does not turn, it does not tilt down, not totally unlike Val Kilmer's actual suit from the film. I mean, he even said he had what felt like PTSD after the film because he couldn't hear anything, he could barely see. The cast and crew literally had to steer him in the right direction, which is crazy. Now, some of this bunching at the elbow is a little ugly, but I don't really think that there's much that Hot Toys could have actually done with that. You know, it always goes back to that debate of, is realism more important than posability, or is posability more important than realism? And in my opinion, this is that figure that's in that gray area slot. I would rather this look like a screen grab from the film than be able to put him in a dynamic pose. But does it frustrate me a little bit that he can't pose at all? Kind of. I'm not gonna lie. At the same time, it's beautiful, so I can give it a bit of a pass. The cape material is really unique. It almost looks like failing pleather, but it's not. It's got a very like silky texture to it, and is quite nice. I like the way that it drapes around the body and the shoulder piece. Now, I want to hear from you guys in the comments below. Would posing make or break your decision to buy this figure? Or are you looking more for that iconic Val Kilmer Batman display? Because if that's the case, I think that this guy is, in fact, worth the money. But also, again, this is the sonar suit. So you've got the posable rolling eye system for this figure that you can see on the right. You also get a chance to be able to swap out for the sonar look in his cowl itself. When you take the cowl off, it's actually kind of this floating cape cowl piece, which is kind of cool when you think about it. But getting the eyes up into the sockets is a little bit of a challenge. I had to do that off camera because it took me probably a minute and a half to kind of push it up and kind of angle it in. I think it's a cool look for the sonar look, but I don't think I would display it that way. Now, I've heard people in the community also say that if you roll his eyes back, it will give him that kind of white out eye look from the cartoons. I don't see it. It kind of looks like he's blind. I don't think that I would use it that way. But here's what the eye rolling system looks like in behind. And I gotta say, it's a tight spot. So I would recommend position the eye before you put it back on. Now, this is what the figure looks like without that cowl and cape piece on. But I will say that one of my chief complaints with the Robin figure was that he came with virtually no accessory at all. He came with some hands. That was it. Batman here does actually come with a select amount of accessories that I kind of dig. This is an arm piece that attaches to his actual wrist gauntlet. Now, the cool thing is you can make it look like it's shooting out this batarang on this wire piece. I think it looks cool. Because he has very limited posability, I gotta say this will probably stay in the box, but I at least like having it. It does feel like there's added value for the money. Similarly with this piece, this also goes on his wrist to make it look a bit like a batarang coming out of the slot. Now, these are some of the batarangs that he can actually freehand hold. I do appreciate it. I do find, and I'll show you in a moment, that Hot Toys actually gave us a pretty good selection of hands for this figure. And one of the hands holds that batarang quite nicely. You just can't really raise it up against his head. Now, the other piece is this. This is a collapsed batarang, which I really like because in the film he opens it up and throws it. I think that that's a cool look. That piece cannot be opened. Now, this also is a grapple gun, I believe. I don't remember the scene specifically from the film, so correct me if I'm wrong in the comments there, guys. But it's still a cool piece. It is made of plastic. It is not die cast. It feels very light, but it still looks good with the figure, so I appreciate the inclusion. Now, here is kind of the selection of hands that we get. We got some open grip hands. We've got some closed grip hands. The texturing on the glove itself is pretty standard Hot Toys quality. Nothing really all that special about it. I guess they're well painted for the most part. These are identical to the hands that we get with Robin, with the exception of some of these pieces that look like trigger pulls, which I do appreciate. I think that's cool. And again, here, the batarang holding hand or the grapple gun holding hand, I think that's a really cool looking piece for the Batman. And again, I appreciate the inclusion with the figure itself. But will I use most of these hands? Probably not, because I intend to have this guy in a museum pose, mostly with Robin, just like how you see here. And you can see that I've got him holding the batarang, so it looks pretty cool, but it's going to stay down by his head for the most part. In fact, I would say that Robin actually has better posability than the Batman at the end of the day, because at least with Robin, you can turn his head, tilt it, and get some of that subtlety out of the posing, which makes it feel a little bit more lifelike in my mind's eye. But at the end of the day, this guy also comes with his figure-based stand if you want to prop him up. It is a beautiful stand. It's quite shiny. I want to hear from you guys in the comments below. For me, I think this was worth the price of admission. I would pay this ticket price again to get this guy in my collection. But I want to hear from you. Have you guys picked this figure up already? Is it already in your collection? What do you think about the posability? Is it a pass or is it a fail? Also, are you on the fence? Did this video help you make a decision? Let me know your thoughts below, but if you guys liked the video, hit the like button for me. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe, and I will catch you guys on the next figure review video. Thanks for watching, everybody.